Hey, what's up you guys? It's Simon. Welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, it was supposed to be a little something else. It was supposed to be me humanizing random objects, but my wrist has been acting up these last few days. It has been very, very mean to me, as you can tell by this wrist brace. So yeah, I'm just trying to let my hand relax a little bit. So I am using my iPad. You guys will probably be getting quite a few iPads quite a few iPad videos this month, so I apologize for that. But yeah, it has very much been acting up, so I'm trying to do what I can to let it rest while still being able to make content for you guys. And my iPad is the easiest way to do that because it's the medium that I'm most comfortable with. I really stress myself out when I'm using my sketchbook, even though I'm trying to get better at not doing that. But that being said, today's video was supposed to be me humanizing random objects, but because I could only really get through one character, I thought I could also talk a little bit about my sketching process and what I go through to get to, I guess, a finished sketch or line art. But before we get into that, I do just want to explain a little bit about this character, obviously, because that was the intended purpose of this video. So I went to a random list generator, and I randomized a couple of different objects. Like, you don't get to pick them, obviously, you just click generate, and I generated it until I found a couple of objects that caught my eye. The first one that caught my eye was the banana. There was also, I believe it was Spread Out and Sources package, but like I said, I didn't manage to get the banana. But to figure out how I would get to this character, I started doing this thing that I learned from the skill tree course. I wish I could remember the name of it. I might link it down in the description if I can find it. But it was essentially this guy talking about how, like, you create illustrations, you pick a word, and you break down that word with things that are associated with it. So, like, for example, if I said, like, school, then you would think, like, oh, bus, homework, paper, pencil, teachers, things like that. Just breaking it down into what do you immediately think about when you see that word. So, what I did with the banana was I obviously put the process of basically the way that I sketch is pretty simple. I have been trying to get better at using references lately, and I've been doing it a lot in my sketchbook, but not a lot in my illustrations, like digitally, which I definitely should be doing. I have in a few, but for this video I was like, oh, I'm just gonna do quick sketches, and I didn't. And I wish I did because it was really rough. But essentially what I do is I either kind of try to draw from memory, which I wouldn't recommend because all of the illustrations that I've really liked lately have been me stylizing from references, and not so much the ones that I have drawn, from my imagination. But I do, obviously, and did for this video, tend to draw from my imagination quite a lot, so just kind of try to compile, I guess, things that you remember. It's a lot of muscle memory. Like, if you draw the same thing over and over, eventually you will be able to draw it from memory, but I would still recommend, even with that muscle memory, using references because it can help you really make things a lot more dynamic. But that being said, once I figure out sort of the baseline, I'll sketch things really roughly. I'll sketch things really roughly. With any color pencil, usually, I'll try to think of, like, what is the sort of aesthetic of this character, what is, like, the base tone of this character, and I'll sketch it, but a lot of the time I just sketch in either red or pink, unlike this video, where I chose to use brownish, yellowish color. But yeah, that was mostly because, obviously, we were going to be drawing a banana character, so I just felt like sketching in, like, a yellowish brown color. But generally I will sketch in red or pink because of what I talked about in the shading tutorial video, and that is that I will set that layer to multiply, and usually reds or pinks or a little bit of a reddish purple will generally go with any sort of skin tone that you lay down. But I chose to do brown for this video because we were doing a banana character, and bananas turn brown when they're ripe. So yeah, that being said, I decided to continue on with my sketch. I made everything super, super rough. You could definitely tell that the character was quite messy. And then what I do is once I've got sort of all of the base tones and shapes down, I will set my layer to like a pretty low opacity. Sometimes I'll have it like mid-level, but sometimes if I sketched in a really dark color, or I just really, really need to refine it like quite a bit, I will set the opacity down to something really, really low, like 10%, like I can just barely see the sketch underneath, because sometimes my sketches are a little too rough, and when you have a really rough sketch that you're trying to refine, sometimes it can be hard to clean it up because you're so focused on the roughness that is underneath it. Anything that you fix will sort of not look the best, and that's something that I was really struggling with this illustration as well. In fact, I did take a day away from this illustration. Like, I drew the first eye and I was like, this looks so weird, and then I took a day away from it, came back the next day and was like, oh, this looks literally fine. I don't know what I was freaking out about. But it was because the sketch underneath it was so loose and so messy that it was really hard for me to focus when creating the sort of refined stage. So yeah, if you find yourself you're really struggling trying to do the refinement stage, maybe bump the opacity on your previous sketch layer just a little bit more so that you see more of what you're making now and not what you are trying to clean up, but you still want to see it the slightest bit because you want to know, where you're placing your stuff. The next thing that I did, obviously, when I was refining it was I was trying to think a little bit more about what this character's personality is, because that can kind of help with the expression and things like that. It can help when you're cleaning up the hair as well. So for me, I was thinking like, okay, well, obviously this character is going to be really sweet, she's going to be really smiley, so I want to really emphasize that smile. But also I was kind of harkening back to the shape of the banana as well, how they're curved like that. I wanted to make sure she had nice, flush, chubby cheeks, and also that she had some hair flippies. I've been seeing literally, okay, don't grill me. Mullets are coming back. I did not like mullets back when they were popular the first time, but I've been seeing these girls with the TikTok mullets, and oh my gosh, they are so pretty. I don't understand how they managed to make like, think if you are Gen Z or a millennial, like older version of Gen Z, not quite like born in 2005 Gen Z, I'm talking like 1999, 2000, 2001, maybe 2002 and 2003, grew up on Hannah Montana, Billy Ray Cyrus mullet. That wasn't pretty. We didn't like that. We bashed on him so hard for having that haircut, and now mullets are popular and suddenly they look really nice. So that's kind of what I was thinking of, was kind of like those mullets that you see where like they've got like these long side bangs and then like the short top bangs and then like their hair's flipping out all over the sides. It was really cute, really nice. I would also recommend like just opening Pinterest for 1 second and scrolling, and you'll probably see what I'm talking about. But that flip shape kind of reminded me obviously of the curve and flip of the banana, so I wanted to push that a little bit more. And then the last thing that I kind of added last minute was freckles, because I don't know why I didn't think of that sooner. Like, when bananas are getting riper and riper, they start kind of freckling. They're like spotting, if that makes sense. So I was like, oh, I can definitely push that into the character. So yeah, when I am sketching something, basically to sum everything up, I try to think about what it is exactly that I'm drawing, even if it's like just something that's like a quick sketch. It's like I draw the circle, I draw the face, and then when I add the defining elements, I'm like, who is this person? What do they do? Even if I'm not coming up with an OC necessarily, if I'm just kind of trying to come up with like, I guess I could call it like a mini OC. They have no backstory, they have no name, but they have a little bit of a personality. How can I push that personality in that aesthetic? So that's kind of what I was trying to do. I just generally think about, basic defining characteristics of a human being. What do they like? What do they not like? How do they express what it is that they like? So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm sorry if that was really confusing. It kind of is hard to explain my sketching process, especially when I'm sketching from imagination. I keep wanting to say from memory, but I'm not recreating the same thing over and over. at least not intentionally. Same phase syndrome is real and it hurts. But that being said, yeah, I just, it's hard to explain when you're drawing from imagination because I'm not 100% of the time thinking like, oh, I have an idea for this illustration and this is how I'm gonna portray it. It's just me going, I really need to draw, but I don't know. Head, hair, it's person. Yeah. So yeah, that's definitely something that I struggle with. I do want to look at references a lot more. If you take a look at my Instagram, the last few pieces that I've done have been from reference. I'm trying to get better also at stylizing references because I realized the reason that I freaking hate references so much, and I no longer hate them, but for the last like year, 2 years, I despised using references, and that is because I've been trying to completely copy them like to the T, like realism illustrations, because I was like, if I draw this totally realistically, then I will be able to then recreate that in my style and I will like latch onto it. And while technically that is the case, I did that enough in school and it kind of helped a little bit as far as where basic shapes of the human form go. But when it came to like stylizing things, like in my style, trying to make different features sort of mesh with my personal style, it wasn't working. Like I could draw like I'd look up like a bunch of different like ethnicities or people with different like shapes of their features, so like people with like those bumps on their nose, which are so cute, it's literally so dope, or like people with like a monolid or stuff like that. I would try to draw it realistically and I would just have such a hard time doing it, not because I was incapable of drawing it, but because I just didn't like drawing realistically, and so it made me not want to use references, it made me not want to practice. But when I turned to like, okay, maybe let's not draw it realistically, try to draw this illustration, try to draw this human being, this person, in your style, and try to capture their features in your style. And it's been working a lot better for me. I think I've definitely been enjoying using references a lot more. It's definitely helped me improve my anatomy some, is in regards to my style, obviously. It's helped me come up with some more dynamic poses, and I've just generally been able to come up with more illustrations that I really, really like. So yeah, if you are struggling with if you are struggling with references, I would strongly recommend maybe trying to stylize it a little bit more rather than just copying it directly, because that was really hindering me. Not because, again, it is good to learn things realistically, but once you already know how to do so and you're just doing it because you're trying to learn how to stylize it, it really don't work. Just kind of look at it and try to define it the way that you would in your style. And yeah, it sounds kind of counterproductive because it's like if you're trying to learn how to do it in your style, it doesn't really sound like it works. But if you look at it long enough and you keep sketching and you notice certain features about that person, but you then try to translate it, this is so like all over the place. I hope this makes sense. But yeah, that is this video. Like I said, I've been struggling lately. I've been very sick. Things have been very all over the place, just like this video, but I hope it was enjoyable nonetheless. So yeah, if you enjoyed, don't forget to subscribe. I promise the next video will be a little bit more thought through. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, wait, I just said that. Y'all, I'm broken. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe. I would also like to give a big shout out to my patrons, as always: Elise Thompson, Durand, Mandy, Sleeps, Puppy Paws, and Creative My Twins. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for continuing to support me every single month. If you want to help support me, you can definitely go and check out my Patreon. I've got a lot of cool rewards for you guys, like digital downloads, stickers and prints for the Matcha Mail tier, line art, coloring pages, wallpapers, all that fun stuff. So if any of that sounds like it interests you, definitely go and check out the Patreon. The link will be down in the description alongside all of my other social media. I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!